So when you are attempting to co-parent with a narcissist, he or she is going to trigger you. They're going to be uncooperative. They're going to say one thing and do another. And they will use the children as pawns, absolutely, to trigger you, get a reaction, which means I'm significant enough to affect you. Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free with true solutions to heal for real from narcissistic abuse and painful relationship patterns. More than just information to survive, you are granted the tools to thrive. In today's episode, I'm going to explain to you how narcissists don't co-parent, why trying to get cooperation creates less, and the necessary tools that you need to detach, self-heal, and self-generate, and why that is so important. All right, so just before we get started, remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and like this video if you find it helpful. Okay, so let's get going on this incredibly painful and sensitive topic. And as a mother, I know how this can affect your child as well as your relationship with your child and of course yourself. I'm incredibly passionate about this topic, and it's my deepest desire to help give you some direction, power, and relief, as well as solutions with this today. And this is so important because people will tell you it's impossible to share custody with narcissists successfully, and for you and your children to have happy, productive, and healthy lives in such a situation. I promise you that is not the truth. Because so many people in this community have got really successful relationships with themselves, their life, and their kids whilst co-parenting effectively. Okay, so let's get going on my first point that I really want to cover with you. And it's about how narcissists don't cooperate. Narcissists don't co-parent, and I know that you've been experiencing this. They don't want to fall in line. They don't want to do the right thing. They don't want to be held accountable or follow rules and regulations, and they don't want to be harmonious, and they don't want to play team. The one thing that a narcissist is interested in all circumstances is narcissistic supply, which means that I can affect other people significantly enough to know that I exist. It's attention. So when you are attempting to co-parent with a narcissist, he or she is going to trigger you. They're going to be uncooperative. They're going to say one thing and do another. And they will use the children as pawns, absolutely, to trigger you, get a reaction, which means I'm significant enough to affect you. Another thing that narcissists do time and time again in attempted co-parenting is they play divide and conquer games, which means that they are going to set the children against you. They're going to smear you to the children. They're going to tell the children that you said this when you didn't say that. And that is then going to be a narrative of blaming you and that you are the cause of the problems. That's what they're going to tell the children. And they're going to tell that to other people in their life as well, people who are around the peripheral. Because what that does is it vindicates them. And narcissists are so interested in a narrative of them being vindicated. That it wasn't me, it was you. And narcissists want to do all of these games and all of these tactics to punish you. How dare you leave them? Or how dare you try and get on with your life? Or how dare you tell other people what they are or how they behave? How dare you? The false self can't deal with that. So punishing you with using the children as pawns is a very, very common tactic. So let's just get all of that very, very clear. And I want that to be clear so that you can understand what their motivation is. It's about narcissistic supply. So that means they are not going to cooperate, because to keep you happy and have a harmonious co-parenting relationship means that they're not going to get narcissistic supply. So this is the thing. We can so easily fall into the trap of trying to get cooperation by trying to hold them accountable, by reacting, by saying, no, this is what you do need to do. Why aren't you doing this? Arguing, getting frustrated. And of course, you're going to get hurt and frustrated. This is your children. But the more you try for cooperation, the less you're going to get. Because it is feeding the narcissist's need for narcissistic supply. If they know that they can affect you, they're going to do more of that. They're going to do more of that. I know this is hugely counterintuitive. As a parent, of course you're going to speak up. Of course you're going to try and hold them accountable. Of course you're going to want to get them to do the right thing and get angry with them. Because with a normal person, if you pointed it out, they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, look, I should have been there at 2 p.m. I'm sorry, I'll do that next time. Whereas the narcissist will come back with tit for tat, or they'll lie to you and then they'll be even later next time. They're going to keep doing that. So we have to stop doing what is the intuitive normal response, which is to fight back. It's going to make it worse. Now, this is where you need to understand a deeper quantum understanding of this, because I promise you, when you're up against a narcissist, this is not a normal battle. This is a spiritual battle. This is a deep inner, emotional, energetic, spiritual battle. So the old rules don't apply here. You have to understand what is really going on with a psychic vampire who is stealing your energy and your attention and your emotions and using them as the bullets against you. So the deeper quantum understanding is so within, so without. The more upset and frustrated and angry you get, the more you are going to receive back from the narcissist the spiritual mirror of those traumas. You're going to get more things to get disturbed about. So what do we do? What do we do? We have to apply the right tools to change this around and get your power back for you, and most importantly for your children, for their health and sanity. Detachment is the first tool, and this is the beginning of parallel parenting, and I've included a link to my information regarding parallel parenting with this video, and you'll find it in the blog as well. And it is essential to understand what parallel parenting is all about. In essence, you let go of trying to control the narcissist parenting with your child, and you fully engage in what you can control, which is your parenting, your boundaries, and your rights. And I know you might be thinking, but Melanie, if I let go and I let whatever happen over there, it's going to get worse. It's actually the opposite with a narcissist. By controlling what you can control, which means detaching, and when you do need to have contact with a narcissist, rather than having direct contact, you're having your parenting situation and there's their parenting situation. And the middle body communication ports between those need to be a third party contact. Now, detachment can be really effective with a tool such as our Family Wizard, and I'm going to supply the link to that as well so you can look it up. And a lot of people have been able to get a court order which says we're going to have this parenting tool. It's a recognized parenting tool. So it means that all communication is only about your child. It's all accountable. It can't be deleted off a server. And you are able to respond in ways where you refuse to get emotionally hooked in and you're not retaliating. You keep it very clinical, very grey rock. This is what I will agree to, this is what I won't agree to, and leave it at that. Because when you go into effective modified contact, which comes through detachment, you are starving the narcissist from narcissistic supply, right? You are no longer feeding the bear that then has the energy to keep coming back and attacking you harder. Also too, this is about detaching from the trauma of what's going on with your children. I promise you, as a parent, where your energy goes, where your somatic beliefs and inner composition goes, is where your children's goes. If you are constantly obsessing about them being co-parented with a narcissist, well then that's going to make your children sicker, I promise you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how do you detach from reacting, how do you detach from the obsession about what's going on with your children. Again, it's all counterintuitive, I know that, but we have to get very empowered as parents to go, what will work and what won't work. And I promise you, for myself and my own experience with a narcissist, with my son, and with thousands of other people over the last 10 plus years, your involvement in concern makes your children and yourself sicker and more at risk. We have to do it the quantum way. This is a spiritual war that you are in with a narcissist. This is not logical. Okay, so this brings me to the next point that we need to look at very deeply. Self-healing. And this is the quantum understanding. So within, so without. The more traumatized I am, the more evidence of my trauma is going to meet me from the field from the narcissist. So what does this mean, the self-healing? What it means is the removing of all of your internal triggers. And you may think that you need to be triggered and energized in the anger or the frustration or the pain to protect your child. No, that is a complete false premise that we believed. When you are triggered into adrenaline and cortisol, this is where you are not connected to solution, intelligence, or support. You're in your primal, prehistoric, primitive functions, which are fight and flee. And in fight and flee, it's effective over a short term to get up a tree away from a predator, but in as far as dealing with a narcissist, all it is going to do is enmesh you in the problems even harder without emotional solution and support to get out of it. Doesn't work. If you have released and removed your triggers, you still have the knowing it's not wrong, and then you have the calm, emotional beingness. You are powerful in your body and you are not being derailed. And that's when the right people, resources, support, legal team, and judge, etc. will be coming into your experience, granting you more of who you are being on the inside, which is powerful, whole, and centered. That's when things start backing you. That's when all of life can partner you to bring you an outcome of more calm, powerful, and centered, which means true, healthy unfoldments that also match your source truth, which is your and your children's well-being. What this also does is you have to understand in this spiritual war with the narcissist, with them putting the children in the middle, the narcissist is using your anxiety, your traumas, to get the hit of energy to continue hurting you. When you starve the narcissist to that, because you're powerful, calm, and centered, then the narcissist runs out of the bullets to hurt you with. What also happens, and I love this part, is your children will start gravitating to you. They are highly intelligent beings. They are highly intuitive, emotional, sensitive, aligned beings when your trauma's out of the way. They work it out for themselves. Okay, and this leads me to the next point. Okay, so there's the detachment that is a necessary tool. There is the self-healing that is a huge component of this. And then what comes next is self-generation. And this means releasing all of your dependency hooks on the narcissist. So what I want you to understand is that becoming self-generative means I no longer need or rely on you, you false self, who is completely unreliable, who is completely using unreliability to trigger and hurt me and my children. I no longer need you. I no longer rely on you to grant me or my children a great life. Which means we don't need you for love, approval, survival, and security, because we are becoming a force of that yourself. Now, this is huge. This is everything, because then you are leading the way as an empowered model, moving out of victimization. And that changes the pattern of your children being hooked on sick, abusive people trying to get their needs met. This is the most horrific thing that we can teach our children. And this is what, as victims, we do. As a victim, we say, that is disgusting what they're doing. They should be doing this. So what do you think your children are going to do? They're going to gravitate to more of those people in the future saying, this is disgusting because you are not granting me this. If when we get out of that, we become an empowered whole person saying, you can be whatever you want to be. I don't need you because I am this to myself. You lead the way for your children, and this is beyond powerful. Now, we have to get past thinking, oh yeah, but Melanie, if I do that, I'm going to let the narcissist off the hook. It means that they're not going to be accountable or responsible. A narcissist will never be accountable and responsible. Let go of that. Let go of that. And so, do you know what? A narcissist is never getting off the hook, because a narcissist is trapped in their own soul torture every single day, needing narcissistic supply to get out of their own self in annihilating thoughts of how defective and unlovable they are. So moving beyond all of this means that you reach this soul graduation. I am capable of generating love, truth, power, success, and peace for myself and my children, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing. Can you feel the power of that? Feel it in your body. This is when you leave that rubbish behind. So if you agree and resonate with this, I want you to pause this video and I want you to write this powerful declaration below. I am capable of generating love, truth, power, success, and peace for myself and my children, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing. I know it's long, but it's a very complete, powerful declaration. And this is going to set up a truth for you that will change everything. I know that if you are struggling with co-parenting, this formula that I've outlaid today, that I've put there for you, is essential for you. And this is what it is. Understanding that trying to force a narcissist to co-parent is wrong town. And how it's going to make matters worse and not better. And then this is about taking your power back by detaching, healing on the inside, everything that's getting triggered, and being self-generative to leave the madness, the nastiness, the game, and the abuse behind. And I want you to know that your children are going to become incredibly empowered and equipped from a very young age to deal and be solid inside, because you led the way for them. The most effective parallel parenting people in this community have set up boundaries and court orders to detach, and they've often used our family wizard. They've worked diligently on their self-healing and their self-generative belief systems and self with NARP, my Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program. And many of these people have won custody battles and all sorts of things against the narcissist as a result of using these formulas. Okay, and I want to help all of you out there who are struggling with this to take your power back and make it work for you and your child. And you can do that in the most effective way by becoming a NARP member. And when you become a NARP member, which you can do today, you can also access the NARP Members Forum, where you get assistance with parallel parenting from an incredible group of parallel parenters and people from all over the world who've been able to use this system effectively, as well as some of the best minds in narcissistic abuse recovery that can help you with any situation that you're going through. We've seen it all. And I'd also love you to check out the successes that NARP members have had, including with their children. And I'm sharing the link to some of these testimonies with you with this video. So I really hope from my heart to yours that this has granted you hope, that you know it is not true that you and your children are doomed to a horrible existence for the whole time that you're going to have to co-parent with a narcissist. That is not the truth. In fact, there can be even more incredible power and heights for you and your children because of this challenge. And that's what NARP will help you achieve. All right, as always, I am looking forward to answering your comments and your questions below. So until next time, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.